part of what I'm asking here this morning and some that they would have in the public domain, and they will get answers?
Yes, definitely. And why we're having these meetings is because we want to bring to the attention of the public mainly to what we do, the independence, the confidentiality, but also to the amendments. We want public buy-in. We need the public to support us in these amendments because we don't want it to go to Parliament, and because some of the amendments would need a 3/5 majority. And we want both houses of Parliament, both sides of Parliament to support legislation and the independent bench. We have sent, and I want the public to know this, we have sent out invitations to all members of the House of Representatives, all members of the Senate, all members of the independent bench. So we have invited everybody to both the 7th of June and the 15th of June meetings. So you can have your choice. So members of Parliament who live in the North can come on the 7th. Members of Parliament who live in the South can come on the 15th of June, Wednesday, 15th of June. So we have made it as broad as possible because we want a full and frank discussion on these amendments. We want to hear what people have to say. Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? No, you should not get it, or yes, you should have it. Remember, now, when the Acting Commissioner of Police was being grilled by the chairman of the Joint Select Committee on National Security, Mr. Hines, he kept on, the Commissioner of Police kept on referring to saying that the PCA had the sole authority for investigating matters. So I want the public to understand that because it may have gone over their head. But the Act, the PCA Act, Section 48(2), says, and I quote, where the Commission, that's the Police Service Commission, or the Commissioner of Police receives information or a complaint in relation to any of the matters mentioned in Section 21A, that's our investigative powers and responsibilities. The Commission, the Police Service Commission, or the Commissioner shall immediately, not 2, 3, 4 months afterwards or 4 days, it's immediately inform the authority of the investigation in writing. And the authority shall have the sole responsibility for dealing with those matters. So, the Act gives the PCA the sole responsibility for dealing with police matters. And Section 21, as I explained, A, is the functions to investigate criminal offenses by police officers, police corruption, and serious police misconduct. So, Mr. Bishop, in reality, and what the Act contemplated was that the PCA had the sole investigatory responsibility for dealing with those matters involving the police, not the police. And I repeat, not the police. And the Commissioner of Police still has the Police Complaints Division working, and the Police Complaints Division was a division under the old 1993 Act. And that Act was repealed and replaced by the 2006 Act, which we work under now. Okay, so they should not have a Police Complaints Division, and they still have one running. That is ultra vires the law.
But as per his representation at the Joint Select Committee, in response to the chairman, Minister Hines, it sounded to me that he was very clear into where the differentiating line is and where the responsibility lies.
Exactly, and he put the responsibility solely and squarely on the shoulders of the PCA,
and
which is correct. But then don't say that and then have a PCD running and have a Professional Standards Bureau running. And that's another branch that investigates the criminal matters.
They should collapse those branches within the police services.
And bring it in line with the PCA because many times the public comes to me and says, listen, we've investigated, I made a report to you all in South about two years ago, nothing has happened.
Duplication unnecessary.
But excuse me, public, we don't have an office in South. We went to the Police Complaints Division. They went, and so therefore, you cannot have your cake and eat it. It is either you giving the Police or Complaints Authority the full responsibilities, and this is Parliament also. If you want to give us the sole responsibility for dealing with police matters, give us the powers. How can we fight, not fight, but how can we investigate police matters when the police have more powers than us?
Who is to mediate? Who is to correct this situation? Because Parliament is the only place. So and not only me, but this happened under Master Dolan and Gillian Lucky. They brought these amendments. If you go back and looking at the annual reports, they brought these to the attention of the former administration since 2011 because they understood the workings of the Act. Now, granted, when you draft an Act,
it is an academic process. But after time you need to make amendments because it's a work in progress, and they realize that hey, we need these powers. Like INDICOM in Jamaica has all these powers. All right. So where our act may seem okay, it is deficient in certain respects, and that is why I want the public to come out to these meetings to hear us and understand us. So, for example, and I'll come to the article you want to come to now on the Interception of Communications Act. The PCA needs to be an authorized officer under that act because many times, and the majority of times, police officers use their cell phones to call victims who they're abusing and to threaten them and to coerce them. And we need that data because when the victim comes and says, listen, Officer X called me and told me A, B, and C, we cannot get Officer X's data. And we need that data to prove, to corroborate the case, to prove the case, and to take it to court.
Let me just make it clear to our listeners what the director of the PCA, Police Complaints Authority, is talking about is that that Communications Act, the inception, what can you do?
Inception of Communication Act.
Inception of Communication Act. The purpose of this the part of the discussion is because you would like your PCA included in the body to have access to that data. Am I correct?
Exactly. Now, that's correct. And we do not want, and I repeat, we do not want to be able to have the equipment to intercept the communication. We can't afford it. We don't have the necessary skill set and training. We do not want that. All we want to do is be able to make an application to the director of the SSA. Please, Mr. Director, we have a complaint stating A, B, and C. Can you please verify that for us? And he can say yes or no, it didn't happen. And that's what we want. But under the Act, the director of the SSA can only give out that information to persons under the Act.
Gotcha.
And we are not under the Act currently. And we need to be under that Act.
There is another aspect to this I must grab from you this morning, just to let our listeners know. The mayor of the city of Port-au-Spain is scheduled to be with us this morning. We have not yet seen him, but we are getting a lot of enlightenment here from Director David West, so we will utilize that time going further. I know the PCA is attempting or asking for broadening.
We are only dealing with police officers. And let me repeat for the public, it's police officers who have been involved in a criminal offense, in serious police misconduct, or in police corruption. Okay, that is our remit, and that is, Mr. Bishop, that is broad enough.
That's enough. Your hands full.
Enough. My hands are full, and for the budget and the resources we have, human resources and others, that is more than enough. What we want to do though is tighten up on that remit in terms of the supplemental, the bodies, for example, the SRPs, okay, the Special Reserve Police Officers. Now, a SRP under the Act is subject to our remit. Okay. However, the police service regulations, okay, regarding discipline, only does not apply to SRPs. All right. So therefore, we need the lacuna addressed that the SRPs fall within the definition of serious police misconduct by police officers. So we need to bring the SRPs within the police service regulations, and that has to be done. And that is not a controversial or a difficult amendment to be made.
I don't think so, because moves are being made to bring the SRPs within the police service regular, and that is under your remit.
Exactly, and you cannot have them come in within the police service and not be subject to any disciplinary rules.
Understood.
So that has to be done.
The independence of the PCA, that from day one when I had you here, it's your third time here, and for the third time I thank you very much, because the public must have a body that they feel comfortable in. I think you have laid out a perfect case for folks to understand that there is confidentiality, there is impartiality, there is no way you're going to be manipulated, because you have the legislation that protects you against any kind of manipulation. It is the place to go. The telephone numbers for them to reach out, those who are not able to make the meeting, but just general information for them to get in touch. How do they get in touch with the PCA if they have complaints to lodge? And do they have to, when they lodge these complaints, give their names and that sort of thing, or is there a degree of anonymity that they enjoy?
Well, the problem is that if they remain anonymous for the full length of time, the duration, when we come to make our final report or final decision, there's no complainant, and we need to know who is making the complaint against the officer. I mean, if for example you see officers, somebody calls and says, listen, there's a house next door to me, and officers inside there smoking weed, or you believe to be marijuana, and we go in there and we see and we tested it. Well, yes, fair enough. You don't need to, because they're in possession of marijuana, which is illegal. So that is an example.
But if they have moved on, you're going to need that complainant.
Exactly. Yes. You know, but I just want to just let the public know, if we have some time, just what we have been doing in terms of statistics. All right? And there were in the for the year, and our year runs from October 1st, 2014 to September 30th, 2015. That's when our annual report is. And for the year, all right, for that year, we had 552 initial reports. So that's when people come into the PCA or make reports or email in or walk in or however and make reports. But out of those 552 reports, we have to sift through them and make sure they fall within our remit. And we got 352 fell within our remit. And out of that 352, all right, 31 were matters before the court. And once a matter is before the court, we cannot, the law says we cannot continue an investigation or investigate the matter, because it'll be duplicating the matter. Because, for example, if a magistrate or judge says, finds the officer guilty, we cannot then say, no, he was not guilty, or vice versa. So we don't want to run afoul to the judiciary. We completed 52 investigations, and we have 269 active investigations going on for that year. Now, I know that number 52 is not satisfactory. I'll be the first one to say that I'm not satisfied with that number, and I wanted to improve, you know, but unfortunately, you know, it is what it is, and we're trying our best. I can let you know that right now, as it currently stands, we have 1,279 active files ongoing. Okay. And for the year last gone, 10 matters were sent to the DPP, 42 matters were sent to the Commissioner of Police, and 179 matters were closed by the authority. So therefore, you see, the police can be rest assured that out of those 321 matters that went to the investigations department, 179, were closed by the DPP, by us. So therefore, it's a balance. It's a balanced approach.
Well, it's a big job you have there, and it's good. Like I said, I think you have made the case very clearly for our listeners this morning that this is the place to go. I just remind them in thanking you that there is a community outreach this Tuesday in Port of Spain, 7 o'clock, 7th. That's Tuesday, June 7th at 6 p.m. Yeah. 6 p.m. At City Hall in Port of Spain, and then on Wednesday the 15th, 6 p.m. at City Hall in San Fernando. Director David West, as always, it is good to have you here, head of the PCA. We will continue paying attention to what's happening here, and I'm going to make every effort. 6 o'clock, yes, that's before my bedtime. I will make every effort to be down there at 6 o'clock this coming Tuesday to be a part of the community outreach being put on by your organization.
Great. Thank you very much for having me, and I wish the public to... And I encourage the public to come to attend, because it involves them, you know, and for them to come and air their views and let the politicians hear what you have to say. And we would like to hear what you have to say also too, because we are working for you.
Indeed. Are you a good singer, sir?
No, I'm not.
Are you a dad?
Yes.
Okay. Is your child of the age where they can sing? Or children?
Yes, they are.
Good. So they can call in and sing on your behalf, because we've got this opportunity for folks to go to Barbados if they for Father's Day. Fathers are allowed to go, but we're inviting anybody to sing on behalf of their father, or anybody can call and say, I'm singing, but if I win the prize, give it to Director West, and you get a chance to go Barbados.
Oh, I like Barbados.
You like? I was trying to get you to the singing, but that didn't work too well. I'll let Conrad come ahead and tell our listeners about this contest that's going on. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us. So you have yourself a very wonderful day.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you.